Hello, this is Mark with Evolution of Warfare, and wow, I did not expect the response that I got to my last Starfire episode. Some really nice comments on the Discord channel, and some nice remarks. I really appreciate people's interest in my take on this. I've This is the second scenario, and there are a couple of things I didn't do last time that I need to read. Probably it'd be helpful just to kind of be cool and go over. Uh, the other thing too is I've got here the third edition rules. This is the Stars at War um, uh, uh, book, and you can see we'll go into the table of contents. What we're looking at here, the first Interstellar War has about 30 scenarios to it. So we're going to be doing episode 2 of the first Interstellar War here, and just looking forward to playing through these. Then the second Interstellar War only has 11. And then the Kanate War, the Orion War, Gorm Orion War, is going to be after that. And then the third storm is really exciting. It introduces a new race. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And once we're done with that, or once I'm done with that, then I'll move on to Interstellar War 4, unless there's another. I think there may be another module. Maybe I think there's a wonderful module called Crusade, which is a really exciting religious spin. In one of the scenarios, a ship disappears and goes off to the Theban world, home world, and it's kind of an Egypt type thing, and it's a dog race. So, but they believe in a very fundamentalist view of purity, and go back and find the Terrans allied with. I guess I'm jumping. Those of you that don't know the story, but eventually the Orions and the Terrans unite, especially against the Arachnids and some other threats, and so. There's this holy war that goes on, and it's just some exciting new components that are added. There's another one related to a civil war within the Terrans, which is I'm very excited about, and then I think one other one, and then there's a couple of titles that I'll do at the end. Akel to Dawn is one of them, and there's another one. So there's quite a bit of material to do on this. Series that I need to probably do and work out once a week. So it'll be a while to get all these recorded, but I'm very thankful again for everybody's interest. So what I did is I've set up basically it's the same system. Scenario is called Return to the Scene of the Crime. I didn't like the asteroids that I had. So I just I'm using these from it's what's the name of the game? Space Empire. So I just ported those over. There's an easy way to do that. It looks a little cleaner to me than what I had. It kind of looked like my dog had been walking around dropping stuff. But hopefully you like the visual effect. I like this color. I didn't think the navy, the sea background. Again, I was looking for the right one. I was looking for a more space theme, even just black and white. But I really do like this dark blue color. The original game came with a light blue with hexes, and any rate, so I hope you like this. All right, so you can see here, the system's a little bit more beefed up. The Orions have a base now orbiting around Mazdanar. They're the populated planet here, and in addition to these colonies, again these are moon bases. I made these moon base counters. And at any rate, so hopefully that looks a little bit better. Then, of course, their force beefed up here with two escorts, the Talron and the Malcon, and then this big old light cruiser here that's pretty, it's pretty beefed up here. Let me go back up here and show you. Again, on the, you probably didn't want to ask this, or I'm just going to compliment or comment on things. A guy has done. I mean, there is another tabletop simulator mod with counters, and they look great. They have a little a number box on the upper right hand corner that I didn't care for, and I like the very. It's just nostalgia for me, and so I like the old icons, even though it's the same one for each race. And I know they all have different races and stuff like that, and different icon or different ship silhouettes. So I contacted the company and asked them about if they had the old silhouettes and file and what I was doing, and they said they didn't. So I just created my own through. I do these counters through PowerPoint, and I was doing. I think I tried my very first counter building experience on Excel, and didn't work out well. But PowerPoint, you can export a slide as a JPEG, and then in Tabletop, you can import that very, very quickly. And I can change the color to green, blue, red, black, whatever the race is. And then these other ones, I just looked up this art on Google Images, and I forgot what I looked for specifically. But these are kind of some cool things. Like I put the task force number here. We'll see this in the scenario notes. And then I've also got this counter identifying this as the flagship. And so I put these, of course, I wanted to have the Orions up close to the entry point. The game in the future will develop mines and set up warp point defense. So this is kind of a nascent warp point defense posture. The Terrans come in with a destroyer, which is their flagship, and then two frigates, the Discovery and the Outreach. And these are modified up from, because they needed more weaponry, that type of thing. And so I'm going to put these back on here. And then, of course, they're coming in the very same warp point that they did. Let's see. I think those are all the changes that I've made. And then the other thing, too, is over here, I've got, my warp point bag. I've got planets and objects will go in here. Standard missile. And then here was the sprint missile. I think the Terrans do have some sprint missiles this turn. And I remember I should have had these counters in. But again, I just made these. And when we have more than like one hit, so I can come in here and I can clone, like, let's say there's, 3 hit. The 3 missiles are launched at, let's pretend the sprint missile is a Terran ship. I'll put them here. I may even spread them out. And then I'll roll a die for each one. And that way, if there's a miss, I can just delete like so. And then I can calculate damage based upon, like that would be, based. I know I was pretty close last time, and that's like 6 points. Sprint missiles are extremely, they can do some damage, and so I learned that, and that was, a problem that I had. Now I rewatched. I don't know why I rewatched my video, but just kind of rewatched it, and was because again at the end of the video last one, I was like, well, I should have ran through, but. They had the opportunity they had a lot more maneuverability early where they could have easily repositioned and fired sprint missiles and followed me and stayed within sprint missile range. And I think we would have had the same results. I think it came down to I didn't roll well for the Terrans. I think there were a couple of misses, and that's what happens. The other thing is I've got these bags for the ships, light cruisers, frigates, and escorts. What we've used so far, and on the Terran side, we've got frigates and destroyers. Um, and then, of course, the base ones are now up here. Task Force, flagship, and so these are all the counters. Now, eventually, this space is going to have all of the ships, and so once I get through probably Interstellar War One, I'll probably put this out on without the probably I'll put it out on Tabletop Simulator without the rules and these documents here, these three, because I don't want to violate. I don't want to violate. They can. They're very cheap and they're very inexpensive, and you can get them from Wargame Vault. And so I don't want to take that away from Star Design Studios. But I think all the rest is print and play, or it's available. I know Tabletop Simulator, and I think even on Vassal. So they've been publicly available for free. And again, these are kind of my counters. So I don't know if I do get in trouble for something, I'll take it down. But that way, the game can be available, and all you'd have to do is go buy these documents and from Wargame Vault, and you're set up and just import the PDFs. And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later as we go through. All right, that's enough introduction there. Let's go to the next scenario. Again, we got our sequence of play over here that we're going to use. Or actually, we have, where do I? Yeah, I think we got it up there. So what I didn't do last time, I didn't read this little descriptor. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. Commander Anderson, who was I guess he died in the last scenario with the ship. So, here it says they destroyed the Alcazar. Well, so I guess how the continuity of these scenarios is, I don't know if based upon, maybe that would be an interesting thing to do is if you do lose a scenario, these are some adjustments you make. But let's assume the other, what happened in my game happened. Probably some kind of buoy was sent back, a drone with information. But the instrument readings that they had came back, and humanity had not, of course, they were destroyed. So obviously war is back. And the survey command was transformed into the Terran Federation Navy. The consensus was that this system, VX-134, was an outpost of a large Imperium, and that it would not be long before hostile ships came looking for Sol, for Earth. To forestall this, 3 survey ships refitted as warships were sent back to VX-134 under a new commander. Now Anderson died to secure so we're just going to have to pretend Anderson lives somehow. Maybe he got jettisoned out and he'll get rescued this time around. Who knows? That way his name it's going to be throughout. He's a very prominent figure in the Interstellar or in the Starfire universe, and so this system will be called Anderson's system later. Meanwhile, District Governor Hadrasha Dokala, Lord Dokala, had learned of the loss of Alxar, or not, I guess they lauded them, gave them promotions, but was loath to tell the Khan that he had lost a ship. Sorry, I misspelled that. Without inflicting any loss on the enemy. So this kind of changes the nature of the scenario. So let's just say that, because I think it would be communicated had they won. Instead, he hastened to VX-134 with his personal flagship, which is the light cruiser, and the only other two escorts immediately available to him. So let's assume, I guess, in the revised results interim, that these were the only 3 ships that could respond this immediately, knowing that there'd probably be a return. This, of course, the scenario is entitled Return to the Scene of the Crime. Determined not to report at all until he could send good news with the bad. Maybe, or I guess, get further information. Maybe the threat wasn't as bad. Maybe it was just an exploratory vessel, a small So who knows? What maybe they're planning on actually going in, or they're assembling other ships to be able to go in through the warp point. But by the time he arrived, Mazdranar's citizens had cobbled up a hastily designed orbital base, which I showed you, to help in the defense of their planet. Although he knew which warp point the enemy must have entered through, Lord Dokala chose to wait near Mazdanar to take advantage of the base's firepower for the enemy's expected return. So I need to make a change to my setup. And again, here you can see, yeah, it looks like the Outreach has 100 sprint missiles. The other ones have standard missiles, that type of thing. So again, I got my reference sheets here, and I really do like this. Is a little bit more handy. It took a little bit of work, but it's not too bad. So I need to make, I guess, some changes. Now, I would have, had it been me, I would have done this kind of defense. And I'm just thinking, the scenario says that, well, let me go back up here because it may just be him. I may leave those, it says Lord Dokala, so it doesn't necessarily refer to the other two ships. The speed of the Orion light cruiser is going to be a 6. So they should be able to make it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to move this back. It said near. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll get me in closer. Looks like, yeah, all of these guys have sprint missiles. So, oof, that is some tough stuff there. Where is my sprint missile? I didn't put my sprint missile thing down on here. Oh, there it is, right there, damage 3. Okay. So, anything new here? Nope, guns, laser beams. I think on this particular one, yes. There is a W. You'll see this here on the destroyer. There's a W. This is a gun missile launcher hybrid. Actually, there's 2 of them. And that allows them to fire a choice between the standard missile and a gun, kinetic weapon. Looks like the same thing. There's laser and gun missile launcher on the Discovery and on the Outreach. This is kind of the newer one. It has the I thought it had. Oh, the Jeep. Let me see here. Oh, okay. It's the standard missile, but it has the sprint missile GM. Yeah, it has one gun and it has a missile launcher with sprint missiles on them. So now the difference here is initiative is going to start off right away. We figure out when we pop out of this warp point. Oops. We pop out of this warp point. We're going to be engaged with these escorts here. Oh, the other thing too, I forgot to mention on my counters. Let me do this. Let me just double check this. Yeah, the Talron and the Malcon both do not have shields. And so one of the things I've done to reflect that, and you probably saw this if you watched the last video, is on the back side of all the counters, I have put a stripe on there to denote when, you're supposed to announce shields down whenever you have no shields. And so that is the marker for that. Instead of having a separate marker with shields down on it, I felt, that would be a cool thing to do. So it all comes down to, I think we got everything ready. So let's go ahead and dive into the scenario. And of course, up here we've got I'm actually going to add component block. And let's color it. Let's just color it black. Yeah, there we go. All right, so the very first phase is going to be, excuse me, initiative determination phase. So this is where things could really change if, okay, we're in turn 1. We really don't need this because it was only when there was, so many turns before, like the last one, it was 4. So I'm going to go ahead and put the turn thing over here. And of course, we'll be within range to do this. So let's go ahead and roll for initiative and see who gets initiative. And it's going to be the Orions. Whoops. Flip. The Orions get initiative. And they're already in place. And so we have popped out of the warp point. And they are going to just fire their weapons. So we come up here. And they have, that cruiser has 2 missile launchers. We have guns and missiles. And we are at a range of, we're at a range of 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to have 2 guns. And so let's see. Let's fire. We're going to fire from the Malcon first. All right. Let's come up here. They're going to fire their gun first. And we need a 6 or less. And there's a 9, so the gun misses. Now we're going to fire the sprint missile. Again, we need a 6 or less. And it misses. Now the Talron gets to fire, and it has a gun and a missile. So they're going to fire theirs. That is not good for the Orions. There's a 10. They missed. Their gun missed. And a 4. So there is going to be 3 hits already on our destroyer. That's coming out. That's our lead unit. Actually, that's not what would happen. The flagship would I think would come out last. And so it's going to be, I think we're going to have the Discovery come out as the lead unit here. Put the task force counter right here. So the Discovery is going to get targeted first, and they get 3. Looks like their shields will be the first thing. They're going to be shields down. So their shields are gone. So that I flipped that counter and put that back on there. So they missed with their gun, and they did hit with their standard missile. Now and I did that. They got to fire first because they're not moving. Now it's going to be movement. And so let's see, I've got this here. So it's 6 and 6. So yeah, they all move. So the Carhay is going to move its 1. And then that's going to move 1. The Outreach is going to move 1. And I'm going to leave the Destroyer behind, our flagship. We'll put that there. Man, I guess we need to fire, although we can actually get pretty close. I think we're going to wait and get right up to that, yeah, sprint missile. If we're close, we can actually get a little bit higher than 6. Get a 7, roll a 7 or less. So that's one. Do I want to move these escorts? They fired. Gosh, we should then fire if we are going to. Maybe I need to fire. I think these guys are going to they're going to, again, this is a warlike race, and retreating, withdrawing is not a matter of honor. As I mentioned in the last video, they're kind of a Klingon type of thing. So it's honorable for these guys to stay and die in combat. I think they're going to just, they've already fired. They're going to hold their position and engage our ships here. So that moves 2. That's 2. 3. We're going to put them just 1 hex. Like so. And then they're going to come here. So our flagship and task force are back. Our counters are here. There we go. So we're now going to fire on these. The outreach is going to fire at the Malcon. So let's go over here. And, well, actually, we'll do the Discovery first. It has a missile gun launcher. And I think the gun may be automatic. Yeah, roll a 9. I think we are going to fire or we're going to fire a gun. If we get a 0, so there's a 5. There's 1 hit on here. So that's going to be their armor. Oops. So the armor goes down. And then they are going to fire their standard missile that they have. And that'll be 1 point of damage. There's a 6 at range of 1. There's another hit. So that was 2 successful hits, and that is just going to hit a hold, a cargo hold. So they're close to affecting their drives, or their ion drives. Now the fun stuff gets to happen, and this is going to be, I guess the gun is 9 or less, so we'll fire our gun. The outreach has 1 gun missile launcher, or 1 gun, so that's the 3. So that's going to be, it could be up to 4 points of damage. We could really hand this some misery. There's a hit. So that armor, again, is gone. And I have a feeling we can get the cargo hold, and 2 of their engines could be destroyed. And we are 1. Oh, it's a standard missile. We're at range 1, so we need a 7 or less. And there's a 2, so that's going to be 3 points more of damage. And yes, that is going to take out. Now they're They only have 2 points of maneuverability. Because we destroyed Hold, and they still have their gun and their missile, though. So now my destroyer, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We are out of range on our sprint missile. So we have, but we need a 6 or less on standard missiles. And I think the laser, do we have a heavy? No, we do not. We have a laser beam. Is that a heavy laser beam? No, it's not. Okay. What is that on the... I wonder if I have... What? An LH? That's a heavy laser. If I remember correctly. I need to, if you don't mind, I need to double check this. So let's go up here, and this will give you a chance to see the... So we're looking, the ship here is the Napoleon. It's a DD-1. And so we'll go here to Stars at War, and let's go down to the Terran Navy. Shouldn't take too long. Destroyer. Napoleon, here it is. So it's one, what is LH? What is LH? There's the laser beam, and it says one laser, but it looks like, I think LH is a heavy laser. So I was doing this off of this, but I think we can very easily do that by looking at the systems chart, I think. Oh, here we go. LH, laser. Weapons. Okay, so L... Any beam. Oh, wait, I just saw it. Oh, it's fighter laser. Okay. Sorry, I'm just running through the 7. Let's go up here to 3, 1. Okay. Missile launcher. A laser. So LH must be something different. Gun missile launcher. Laser buoy. Okay, we just need to follow the chart. They have, I thought they had a heavy laser. I'm going to have to investigate what that LH is, but their range on a, they're at a range 11, and yeah, we'd have to have a 6. Well, we could still fire. We could fire and try to get to let the frigates take care of these escorts, and then I could fire at it. So I need basically 2 6s. Let's try the standard missile. Range 11, I need a 6 or less. There's a 9. That's going to be a miss. I probably should have pulled out a standard missile chart, but oh, they actually have 2. Okay. And there's a 5. So had I done this like I was supposed to, let's just go ahead and do this. Standard missiles. And that'll show what we're targeting. And eventually, there's going to be point defense. So that's what these counters were really. Right now, I could have remembered, but one missed, and so now there's one hit on the light cruiser. In the future rules, when point defense comes into play, then the point defense will then get an opportunity to shoot at all of the standard missiles. But now there is going to be one shield unit is actually going to get hit, dropping their shields down to 4. Whoops. Four shields. And then we got to take out one here. All right. So that then takes care of that. That track. Again, when we have more ships, it's going to make a lot more sense. Now, we're going to come over here and we're going to fire our laser. We need a 6 or less. And it's just going to be... oh, there's no damage. There's really no point of firing our laser beam. But we did get a hit on the shield. So that's a good thing. So that is 2. These guys are going to close within a little bit more range. 3, 4, 5. And he's going to come here to 6. And make sure I bring along our flagship marker and light cruiser. All right. Now he gets to fire, the big boy. Let's see. He has 2 missile launchers, a gun, and a laser. All right, so let's fire. He's got 2 missiles that he could fire. 2. We're gonna be, and they're gonna be sprint. I think we saw that we can get that. I probably should have put the sprint missile on the back of the standard missile. That would have been interesting to do that. I could make those again. But we have other kinds of missiles as well, so never mind. All right. So we're firing. We're going to be at a range of... Whoops. And I'm sorry I'm probably making everyone seasick. All right. So we're now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're at a range of 7. Sprint missile, I need a 4 or less. It'd be 6 or less, but man, if we could get in 6 points of damage on this destroyer, it's worth a shot. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need 2 4s. So the first missile, oh, almost a 3. That misses. And we get a 7. That actually misses. Now we have a gun and a laser. So we are again at 7. We need a 4 or less, or excuse me, 6 or less for the gun. And there is a hit on the destroyer. And that takes off a shield. They got nice shields though. We're now down to 4 shields, and then now we got to do the laser beam at 7, and but there will be no damage because of the length. So that's done now. We have fired. We are done with this particular round. So we'll go to round 2, and we roll initiative. And it looks like, yep, it's going to be the Terrans get the initiative. All right. So I think I'm going to hold. So I'm going to fire all my weapons at these ships. So the first is going to be the outreach. And they have a missile and a gun. Oh, outreach actually has the sprint missiles. So we're going to fire at a range of 1. We need 2 6s. Let me go over here, and I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to bring in a standard, sprint, standard, and sprint. And that way I don't have to go all the way back over here. So we have, let's go back up here to outreach. Outreach has 1 missile and 1 gun. So they get to fire a sprint missile. Outreach is there. And they need a sprint. They need a 7 or less. And they miss. That's not good. And now they fire their gun. And they just need a 9 or less. They got a 3. So that was the outreach. So they did get a hit here. Oh, we did knock out their gun. That's a good thing. I have a feeling we're going to have a different result in this particular conflict. All right, so they are now down just to a standard or sprint missile, but they can still do 3 points of damage, which would take down shields and armor. So they're a little, when they refitted these frigates, they gave them a little bit more defensive capability. All right, now the Discovery gets to fire, and they have a gun missile launcher. So it's a standard missile, though. So we are going to pop this over here like so. And they're going to roll. And 8. Standard missile needed, or yeah, standard missile at a range of 1 needed a 6 or lower. Ugh. Miss. And now they're going to fire their gun, and we know they needed just a 9. And there's a hit. So that is going to take out one of their engines. And drop it down to 3. And I'm remembering, here it shows these engines in, let me move over here and show you. Get down close here. It's showing the engines. If you look here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but next to the turning mode charge, or what it costs to do a turn, these engines are in parentheses, which I know that means that there's 2 engines in that compartment. What I don't know is if that compartment gets hit, if both of those engines are destroyed. So I'm going to need to look at the rules on that, but for right now, I'm just going to do it the standard way. All right, now we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excuse me, that light cruiser is within 7. And so we have, gosh. There are only standard missiles. So we're going to, oh my gosh, I'm going to hiccup through the rest of this whole thing. 2 standard missiles are going to be fired at the Calray. So we're going to clone that, and we're going to pop 2 standard missiles there. And we need a 6 or less. So the first missile gets a hit, second missile gets a hit. So that's 2 point. I think that's going to. So those both hit there. We're still dealing with shields. But they are now down to 2 shields. Okay. So those missiles hit, and now I get to fire my gun. Oh, the laser beam may even be in. I get 2 missiles, and then I get to fire my laser. And we're at a range of 6, and we need a 5 or less. And the laser missed, but we would have passed the nice thing is lasers skip shields. So man, once we can get a little closer, we'll get 2 on that. So that is our weapons fire. Now they get a return fire. I think the Calray is going to he's going to pull up into this slot right here, and we're going to get this toe-to-toe business. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's gonna be a toe-to-toe match for sure. All right, now these guys get a fire there. They get 1 gun and 1 missile, but they both have sprint missiles. So let's do the guns first. Oh, they just need a 9 or less, actually. All right. So we'll do the guns first. So 4 and a 1. So these guys are both these frigates are hit. So they're now down to each 1 shield, I think. He's already lost his shield. So his armor, the first of his armor plating is destroyed. And so those are the guns. Now the big damage. We're going to fire, they each get 1, I believe. Yeah, LH is, I knew this. LH is a heavy laser, because I've got this down. If you'll notice, I thought I'd seen that. LH is a heavy laser beam and can do some serious damage. And so I think it's just some error in their sheet, because I know Q is quarters, and I should have an S after that Q, but yeah, LH is a heavy laser. So, dang, well, we're gonna. We'll just have to use this chart here. But they have to be in pretty close range to be able to do that much damage. All right. So now we get to try to fire our standard our sprint missiles at a range of 1 is going to be 7 or less. So here's his first one. That is going to be a 6. And this missile here is going to be oh, that hits. So we got to go in and do 3 points of damage to each of those now. So here, shields are gone on the outreach. 1, and the hold and the armor. All right, so that did that. Here, it's going to be armor Z, and an armor hold. And Z is the that is the long range scanners basically. So the hold, the scanners, and so they're close to losing their laser beam. Wait a second, they have a laser. I didn't do lasers last. I just did. That's crazy. Yeah, they both have lasers. I did not. Oh, Outreach does not have lasers, but the Discovery does. So I get a fire on the laser chart. They're at 1. I need an 8 or less. I get 2 hits. There's an 8. And yeah, so we get back one of our damaged. I think that's the Z. The yeah, so their gun and an engine gets destroyed. Okay. Sorry about that error. And that drops us. They have 2 now. And then we get back a Z. I think there was a Z. The scanners. Okay. All right. Well, they didn't have their lasers online in the first round of combat, and so boom, that's it. All right. So they have all fired. Now it's going to be. These guys get to move. One. So again, they're gonna pop right into here. All right. And they have 2 missiles, sprint missiles, 1 gun, and a laser. So they are going to fire off at the destroyer, the Napoleon. They're going to fire 2 missiles. And these are going to be sprints at a range of 1. I need 7 or less. First missile gets a 5. It's a hit. Second missile is a 1. So that is going to be 6 points of damage on the Napoleon. Oh, like cow. I think that is going to be, yeah, that's going to leave 2 armor. Two armor, and it destroyed their shields. So they are going to have to do some really big damage here on this next turn. Oh, and they lost their shields also, the Outreach. All right, so that's the 6 points of damage from the missiles. Now they fire their gun, which is 9 or less. I know that. And there's a 7. So there is another hit to the destroyer, and it's going to be another armor. All right, and then the laser. And they do not have a heavy laser. They just have a standard laser. Let me go back up and look. Or do they? Yeah, they have a laser, a regular laser beam, which is just going to be 2 points of damage, and they need an 8 or less. And there's a 7. So we lose the final bit of armor. And they lose the hold. There we go. But we still have our weapon systems. So we are pretty much stripped down. We really do need initiative on this next turn. Again, that's where this all comes to play. All right. We are toe to toe. Boy, those escorts stuck in there, man. They are getting some definite honor. But we need now to do initiative. And this is going to be a huge determiner in the third turn. Oh! It was a 2. But it's not. Not anymore. This could prove to be fatal. Man, the Orions are just killing it. All right, so let's go back up here. Look at our ships. I guess I could just do it off of here, right? All right. They have one missile. Excuse me. Yeah, they've got one missile left. That means they'll get 3 hits. And they need and they have the Malcon has they have sprint missiles. All right, 8 or less. Oh, ow! Oh man, the outreach just got crushed. So X, I think X is I don't know what Z is actually. I'm going to have to look that up, but it's not a weapon system. So X and 2 of the engines. So that's going to knock their engine ability down to 4. All right. Oh, ouch. Okay, now we need an 7 or less on this escort, and he hits a 7. This is gonna looks like it is going to be an engine, their laser, and whatever Z was. So there we go. So they fired their guns, and so he had just a missile. This guy has his missile left. He lost his gun. All right, now the Karhe gets to fire. He's got 2 missiles, a gun, and a laser. So he needs a 7 or less. Okay, he's going to fire 2 sprint missiles at the destroyer. 7 or less. There's a 10. 1 misses, thankfully. And then there's another. And there's a 2. So we lose, looks like 2 engines and the gun launcher. Oh, my gun missile launchers. But I do have a laser and an LH, which is a heavy laser. Yeah, I thought that's what I had. Which can do a boatload of damage that we saw. So there is that missile. They still get a fire though. He has a gun and a laser. So go over this next page. A gun needs 9 or less, and the laser needs an 8 or less. So let's do the gun first, 9 or less. There's a hit. And his regular laser is going to be destroyed. And then we need, for the heavy laser, we need an 8 or less, but it does 7 points of damage. Oh, no. Actually, that's a regular laser. 5, it does 2 points of damage. Yeah, 2 points of damage. Whew. So it looks like I think yeah, I could have fired at multiple targets. That's what M1 is, multiplex targeting one. I think that allows you to do multiple targets. So that's where those standard missile counters can, or those missile counters can come in very handy. But we are going to knock off another 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Napoleon is down to a range or engine of 5. All right, we survived that. Now there's not going to be a lot left. Outreach has its sprint missile. So sprint missile at range of 1. We just need a 7 or less. Oh, it misses. Shoot. The Discovery has its gun missile launcher left. So it's going to fire a gun since it's 9 or less. And I'm glad I changed that. So it looks like, oh, they have lost their... So this ship has lost its offensive capability. So it could pretty much withdraw. But it has done well. The ship has done well, and it still has 2. It can pull out or just sit there. All right, now we move on to the Napoleon, and it has a heavy laser. It needs to hit. We need an 8 or less to get 7 points of damage. And there it is, 7. Holy cow. All right, it loses 2 of the shields, so that knocks it down to 5. All right. And then let's see. Then it's going to lose its 4 armor. I don't know why. So they lose 4 armor. And they lose a BBS, which again, I'm not sure what that particular thing is. But there we go. So we have done 7 points of damage, but they still have their weaponry. We need to have initiative on this next turn. All right. So that takes care of that. It looks like we're getting near the end of this scenario. We're on now turn number 4. Oh! It's going to be E, and I think we reroll ties. Because somebody has initiative. Thankfully, the Terrans have... They get initiative. So we don't have to worry about the Talron anymore. In fact, I think we're going to focus the Discovery with its gun. In fact, we're going to go ahead and fire. There's a 9. That is going to eliminate their gun. All right. This guy only has his missile gun launcher, I think. Oh, no, a sprint. So we need a 7 or less. There's a 2 with our sprint missile. And the ship may actually survive. 3 points of damage. I think they lose their, they lose their quarters, their magazine, and their missile. So they are rendered neutral. So that the Outreach may survive this combat. Certainly, it can, next turn, it could focus its sprint missile on the light cruiser. Now, here, the Napoleon has a heavy laser. We need 7 or less. God, I really want, I guess we did get it once. But let's go ahead and fire and hope. Oh, it was on a 4 and it missed. Oh my gosh, it's going to be destroyed. I have a feeling. So the only thing left is the light cruiser, and they have 2 sprints and a laser. So they're going to fire. Their clone or their sprint missiles, 7 or less. First missile is a hit. That's 3 points. And just 3 points of damage. So one of their missiles miss. The dice rolls just kill you. We may survive this yet. That heavy. So it's just 3 points of damage. Oh, we actually had a gun launcher left. Oh well, we'll just it's gone now. Maybe I will just have to have it. It was non-functional. So there's 3 points. We still might lose because they still have. Oh, they have their laser beam. 2 points of damage. Laser is going to be. I think it's an 8. Yes, 8 or less. 2 points of damage. Their magazine goes, and their heavy laser goes. Oh no. That heavy laser is gone. So they are no longer offensive capable. So it's down to our 2 frigates. We have sprint missile, and we have a regular gun. Well, I know. Well, I guess we should just do this way. We're on the 5th turn. For the Terrans to win, they've got to. They did not get advantage initiative. They still have they have the sprint and the laser. They're going to fire. Oh. They're going to fire their sprint missile, and they need a 7 or less, 3 points of damage. 6. Oh. Yep, the Napoleon has been destroyed. That has been destroyed. The flagship. So that is going to now. They do not have multiplex tracking though. So the Carhay fired everything it had at. Everything that they had at the destroyer. I need to pull out a flagship counter. Whoops. The Outreach is now the flagship. But that's all they can. That's all they can do. So now I know we have a gun. We need a 9 or less for the gun to hit, and it fires an 8. And they lose They lose 2 of their movement points. So they're down to a 4. And then we need a 7 or less. And we miss with our sprint missile. So now these are heavily damaged. I'm thinking, let's see, although they have a chance to, they've still got their missiles. I think they're going to stay at it. We're into our 6th turn. They get initiative. I think they're going to be destroying another ship here. Oh my. All right, so they get a gun. They're going to fire. They're going to focus their fire on the outreach. The gun is 9 or less. And there's a 9. Our magazine. Oh, they actually have a laser. That's their laser, not their gun. And that's a miss. I think they had to have 8 or less for a standard laser. They do get to fire 2 sprint missiles at the outreach. And so it looks like I need to rename these missile counters. So yeah, they get 2. And they need a 7 or less. Wouldn't this, man, the outreach would be the lucky ship. Nope, there's a hit. Yeah, 6 points of damage. I think they're gone. I could be wrong. So here's 1. 2. 3. 4, 5, and 6. Now we need initiative. The problem, 1, 2, is their turn mode is 2. He still has Discovery may be able to get out of here, but they're going to have the initiative. So let's roll. And they do. I think the Discovery may be able to get out of here. He has a turn mode of 5 or turn mode of 2, and he has. So what he can do is he can. That's 1. That's or 2. That's 4. Oh, and he's going to move here. The outreach is going to stay and try to draw fire, but I think the Cal Ray is going to fire everything he wants to destroy the entire fleet. So, yeah. So first of all, laser beam gets an 8, so it misses. The laser beam misses, and that's at 1. Yeah, they had to have an 8. Oh no, they hit. So the Discovery loses 2. They lose their gun missile launcher and an engine. Now they fire 2 sprint missiles. Man, I didn't realize how deadly these sprint missiles are. And he needs a 6 or less. There's a miss. And there's a miss. Oh my goodness. They're going to be able to, I think they can get out of here. Let's see. They're down to 4. Actually, they're down to 3. No, 4. 3. But even if they just have 3, well, no. How many do they have? Oh no, they have 4. Let me look up here. The Discovery. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, they do have 4, I think. Magazine quarters. I may have retyped this wrong. Let me bring the Discovery up here for a second. I need to compare. I may have totally screwed this up, but let's see. They have a magazine. Oh, they have their magazine. 1, 2. Oh, they have 3 left. Okay. That's what I thought. Oh, quarters, they have 3 left. Okay, so it is 3. They may get destroyed. I don't know. We're going to have to follow this through. But there is no one has any offensive capability at all left. So that's going to allow them to turn one more and go here. And maybe they can get lucky. Who knows? All right, so now we go to another round. Go to turn 7. And hopefully the Terrans keep the initiative. So 2 and 3, and they're going to come right in for the kill. They have, because they have 4 engines, so they're at 0. Gun. They get a hit. The magazine goes up. And now at 0, sprint missiles at 0. They need an 8. Well, we know. Here's 1. That's a hit. 3 and 8. So there's 6. So the Discovery, unfortunately, is destroyed. So that's gone. But, and that leaves, I think the Outreach is going to surrender. It's going to be just surrendered or destroyed. So we are at the end of our scenario. The Orions have won both scenarios. And the base never got in it. The base never got into the action. Maybe they could have fired standard missiles, but the likelihood... So, man, the Orions, the report back to the homeworld is they have taken on twice, and this is going to all have to spin up. So we are now going to close this. Again, please like, subscribe, and share my YouTube channel. I've got a bunch of other games on there I do playthroughs on and doing more. But I hope you enjoyed this. These scenarios are just going to get bigger over time. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen if they didn't lose this system, but we have to move to a new system in the next scenario. We got to follow the scenarios. So y'all take care. And again, put any comments down in Facebook, or I mean, not on Facebook. Well, yeah, I think on Facebook I've put this, I share it on Discord, put some comments there, and on YouTube, obviously with my channel. Any questions? I know I've got one guy that he messaged me and said that he'd be willing to play in a future scenario. So stand by for that. That may be the next one. And just waiting to hear back on his schedule. But y'all take care, and we will see you next time on the Evolution of Warfare.